Nice, clever little wordplay. Thank you for that. Oh, dear Lord, where does she come from?
Papa?
Poor Mama. A secondary assistant, she wouldn't have had such a good view of all the innards.
Ma'am, are you okay?
Define okay.
I don't believe I will.
Exactly. And that was found inside the victim's stomach?
Yes, I'm afraid so. You know what? Actually, I'm going back to my statement. No internal injuries from swallowing that? From swallowing that?
That's like a sword in a way.
No, that is like 3 knives on a ring. Pretty sure I can chop eggs with that.
What's up, everybody? KBTV on the sun, and welcome back to the last case of this game. So, I mean, you can see the discrepancy on the screen right now. Goria say there were no internal injuries, but, like, Clint swallowed this ring. How do you not have any internal injuries from swallowing this ring?
They have
carefully.
Stomach plated with steel.
Or in Lewis's case, because he misheard it last video, how do you swallow a sword, I guess?
Objection.
It was a piece of a sword. No, my argument was still fine. Anyway, you know what?
The court has heard that the ring was extracted from the victim's stomach. But you didn't actually see it being removed, did you, Professor Mikatoba?
That's right. As I said in my testimony before, at that moment, I was fetching a replacement scalpel that Dr. Wilson had requested.
In other words, you can neither confirm nor deny whether this ring, in fact, really came from the victim's stomach or not.
What are you suggesting, counsel?
That the ring was never in the victim's stomach to begin with. It's entirely feasible that Dr. Wilson fabricated that detail about the autopsy.
What are you saying? That Dr. Wilson...
That Dr. Wilson was in possession of the ring in advance, after it was somehow stolen from Mr. Asogi. And he produced it during the procedure, pretending to have found it there and then in the victim's stomach.
Objection! Supposition at best. What possible evidence do you have to support such a rash claim?
The evidence... This evidence right here.
Report.
What? Oh, did you go through? Huh. Okay.
I heard autopsy report and nothing else.
Okay, I was just like, huh?
That's the autopsy report. Is that good, Discord?
Explicit in that report, counsel. Other than the ring, nothing unusual was noted internally. So I'm not sure how you intend to prove your point.
I don't know. Do you need some glasses?
That's the point, though, Strawheart. You just said it. You've already done it for me, my lord. The lack of internal injury says it all.
What?
To swallow a ring of this size will require considerable effort and determination. And in addition to its size, there are the sharp claws around the gemstone to contend with.
I cut myself just holding this thing.
I got a freaking cut on my finger already.
My brother was... Jesus, alright. I got so many voices going on all over the place that, like, starting to... My brother was... Nope, that's not right. Jesus! Van Seeks! Did I lose your voice?
You're not playing Jesus. That's a different game series.
I think I lost this. Did I lose your voice, Van Seeks? What happened here? Somewhere down here. Alright, there we go. We've got it. It's fine, it's fine. My brother was a determined man. And on the brink of death, even more so, I'm sure. He would have stopped at nothing to ensure that evil killer was brought to justice.
I mean, no, that's fine and all, but the point of the matter is there are still no eternal injuries. If you truly believe that he ate the ring, that's fine, but there should be evidence. But if he really had swallowed that enormous ring, it's inconceivable that no traces of its passage down his throat would have remained as internal trauma.
No.
Yes.
And there you've arrived at the sticking point. That's precisely why I had my doubts about the finding myself 10 years ago.
Then why didn't you say something at the time?
Because he was like, a visiting student?
I did. I still remember the conversation I had with Dr. Wilson in the laboratory that day.
Did I cast anyone for Dr. Wilson?
I can be him. I
Sure.
don't know who he is.
Yeah, sure, go for it.
Look at this! Now this is a very curious thing to find in a man's stomach, wouldn't you say?
But isn't that rather peculiar, Dr. Wilson?
What is it now, Mikatoba?
Well, if he swallowed a ring of that size, with those sharp metal claws that it has, surely you'd expect to see damage to the throat and esophagus? Torn mucous membranes at the very least?
That's how you spell esophagus? I thought you spelled it with an A.
Huh.
Okay.
Maybe that's an old way of spelling it.
Potentially, yeah. Dr. Mikatoba, may I remind you that this is the first time I've had a voice this entire game, including the first parts, and I'm also dead, so please, I have vastly more experience than you.
I'm terribly sorry.
I could think of plenty of ways to explain why no injuries would have been seen. Now, let's say this. The victim would appear to have ingested the item as evidence to identify his assailant. Go ahead, write it down.
I mean... He could have further lied and just be like, oh, wait, there were actual injuries. Never mind.
So I was right. Dr. Wilson deliberately fabricated the results of the autopsy to implicate my father.
So did Mikatoba invite Dr. Wilson? Like, hey man, okay, so check out all this cool science stuff I'm doing now. I'm a doctor. So about that thing you told me 10 years ago, so that was a bunch of crap, right?
I'm disappointed, Counsel. That argument is nothing more than speculation.
You're nothing more than speculation.
What?
He's the judge, he can do whatever he wants.
Dr. Wilson was Britain's leading authority on forensic science and autopsy work.
Yeah, and he's dead.
There's no scientific basis on which to doubt the man's expert opinion. Pardon the interruption, my lord, but... damage to the mucous membranes of the throat is easily identified even in living subjects.
Using a device called an endoscope, recently demonstrated in practical use in France. I want one. The government can pay.
The government is cheap! We will not pay!
Oh.
Dr. Corey!
Oh.
Rest assured that your removal of evidence from the stores, without permission, will not go unpunished.
We open up the dead to find the truth.
I beg your pardon?
But Mama, she chose to stitch her corpses up, with all her secrets inside. That's wrong.
Dr. Gore, it's looking as though she's chosen to walk a different path to her mama. Rubble, 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 rubble.
There's still people in this courtroom?
Rebel indeed. Yes, the ring.
What about the ring?
The one ring to rule them all.
Yeah, it's got to deliver it to Mount Doom.
I've just remembered something. An earlier incident.
What incident?
The one I recounted to you before. About a memory I have. Of Genshin Asogi saving my life.
What? My father saved your life?
It was 10 years ago on that foggy night. Genshin and I were walking down some back streets at a late hour. All of a sudden...
Don't mind a peep, you come on those! What's that?
The bandits?
I know, I don't know who voiced them last time.
I think it was you.
Okay.
We were making goofy sounds for them.
Okay.
Now, please, I would like to note for the court to be impressed that we're having a flashback within a flashback. But anyway, all of our assailants were armed with pistols, their faces obscured by scarves. The next thing I knew, there was silence all around. Genshin lay on the cobbled street. Blood was seeping from his left hand. He'd shielded me. It was on the ring finger of his left hand that he used to wear that ring.
Are you saying?
I've always believed those thugs were after me. But now I'm starting to question if perhaps I wasn't the intended target after all.
Wait, but...
Genshin was arrested 2 days after that attack. In that short interval, the decisive evidence needed to indict him was miraculously found.
You mean the ring was stolen from him? You think that's what those thugs were after that night? Rubble, 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 rubble?
Objection!
The ring?
Oh, to rule them all, yeah.
You pathetic coward. You expect me to believe that you weren't involved.
Uh-oh. Oh, Kazuma, calm down. Calm down.
What do you mean by that?
It was you, wasn't it? You're the one who took it. You stole my father's ring. You set the whole thing up so you could paint him as a mass murderer and have him arrested.
Kazuma,
Shilda, freak out.
open your eyes.
Ryunosuke?
You must know deep down. The truth can be completely obscured even when your judgment is only slightly clouded. But at that moment, you seem to be floundering through a dense fog.
So I'm in Silent Hill?
No, because Konami owns that, and they won't let us play nice.
You're in Quiet Mountain. You need to get out of there.
Oh my God. Is that why you were so insistent I should be present in this trial? To see you like this?
Well, this is an amusing spectacle. What a grandiose expression on your face. As if you were Lady Justice herself. Seems you've thoroughly convinced yourself of this alleged fabrication of the autopsy results. So much so that you're apparently blind to the blatant contradiction that would be born out of it.
What?
Though it's extremely hard to believe, let us imagine that there was some misconduct during the autopsy. Just for a moment. Just close your eyes, picture it. Alright, now we're there. If that were the case, why would Asogi not have disputed the findings in his trial?
Oh.
In the closed court hearing 10 years ago, the defendant never once denied the claims against him. Isn't that right, Lord Van Seeks? Yes, that is indeed correct. On hearing the verdict of guilty, he really closed his eyes, quietly accepting the judgment. The actions of a man who has accepted responsibility for his deeds and is resigned to his fate.
But then...
Oh my, that is very strange. If Mr. Asogi did nothing to oppose the charges against him, then... that would surely mean there was no fabricated evidence.
Or consider...
Not necessarily.
It's okay, Susato. I haven't been paying attention either. I get it. I get where you're coming from.
An obvious conclusion at which you should have arrived many minutes ago, Prosecutor Asogi. Your twisted loyalty and clouded judgment are hampering your ability for logical thought.
Alright,
I see
Discord.
you've been stunned into silence.
Alright.
We love Discord.
It's understandable. Genshin Asogi's silence at his hearing can mean only one thing. There was no fabrication of evidence during the autopsy of his final victim 10 years ago.
Ah! He could have been bribed to silence,
Or threatened.
Yep. But if that autopsy was all above board, there'd be nothing to stop Lord Strawheart bringing his trial to an immediate conclusion.
Objection!
Thank you, Ryunosuke. If it wasn't for your frank words just now, this trial may very well have ended prematurely.
Kazuma?
Kazuma over here like, thank you, Ryunosuke, for telling me to stop being a little scrub. I see clearly now.
Thank you, Ryunosuke, for telling me not to
Yes!
stop.
Don't fuck it up, Kazuma! What's this latest absurdity, Council?
My lord, your reasoning is perfectly sound, but for one giant hole.
I beg your pardon?
You claim my father's silence was due to the fact that there was no fabricated evidence. But there's another possible explanation. You've overlooked the possibility that he had a reason for maintaining that silence.
Objection!
Silence that would lead to him being convicted and sent to his death? If the autopsy results were an invention, there's no conceivable reason why the man wouldn't have protested.
Objection!
What was that JoJo pose he was doing?
Yeah, that was the new one.
No, it's the same pose he's been doing, but it's the first time we've seen it
From the front.
from the front.
Yes, he's done it. He's done that point from the side, like where Kazuma is. So
Usually we see it here.
yes.
But wow, from the front, it's like looking at a bald eagle from the front. It's like, damn, dude.
Oh, those results were an invention, all right. There's no question of that. Or are you forgetting that 2 people with a connection to that autopsy have been assassinated? If I force the grievances I feel from my mind, I start to see you in a very different light. I think perhaps it's you who's been living in delusion these past 10 years.
Me?
Kazuma-sama has created one last chance for us here, Mr. Naruto. If we can only show there was a reason for his father's silence in the trial.
A reason why the man would have said nothing, even though he was innocent.
That's what I just said.
Could it have been part of some negotiation, perhaps?
Hey, are y'all forgetting like the obvious thing?
Huh?
That we're in Great Britain and that everyone here was basically on like an exchange program, and if the two countries had any feuds with each other, that would create a mass war.
That's not where I was going with that, but all right. I was just gonna say, it's like, hey, have you considered if he's not the killer, but he's being accused of being the killer, and maybe he knows who the killer might be, and the killer knows that he knows? What do you think the killer would do? Threaten his family?
Oh, that's true as well. But how could he threaten his family if his family was all the way over back in Japan?
I mean, that didn't stop.
You don't say.
That never stopped Asashin from killing Wilson, who was all the way in Japan. So I don't know what you're. What are
Yeah.
Oh, I guess that is true.
What are you talking about?
It's almost like the killer would have to have been someone that had the power to threaten someone's family all the way in Japan, and have the ability to do something about that, as shown by the fact that the Dr. Wilson is dead.
The king of Great Britain, it's himself?
No, he's a puppet. He can't do anything.
Oh.
Alright, so we're gonna have to break down the myth of the royal family in Britain now. So the way it works, no, I'm not doing that.
We'd be here for a while, man.
Enough rhetoric. The court must be shown evidence. What proof do you have that could possibly explain Asogi's silence in court? Okay, oh right, proof. Okay, all right.
The thing we need. The armband, clearly.
No.
I'm going to scream.
Actually, no, it is on this page.
Who wrote
It's been a while. But Mr. Vigil did say some interesting things about Genshin when he was in prison. And also he got this dismissal notice for assisting in
For letting him write his manifesto.
Well, that, but also for abetting the escape of a prisoner.
Yep.
That's what it was. Yes.
It
Okay.
happened.
All right. Take that. It's true that Genshin Asogi's silence during his trial resulted in his conviction, but that didn't actually lead to his execution. On the contrary, it led to his escape, an escape that was only possible because he'd been sentenced to death.
Although I find it hard to believe my father would have negotiated in that way, the defense is correct. A fake execution, falsification of a death certificate, and a jailbreak inside a coffin. Clearly such an elaborate plan couldn't have been carried out by my father alone.
Must have had the help of a collaborator from the judiciary.
I have here the dismissal notice of the chief warder who was working in the prison at the time. The notes read, there are indications that the jailbreak was in planning prior to the inmate's incarceration. In other words, there were suggestions of some sort of negotiation between Mr. Asogi and the British government.
In exchange for his silence in court, he was given an assurance that he would be broken out of prison. Yes, with that sort of clandestine agreement in place, I can imagine he would have kept very quiet.
I would go further than that, in fact. I would say that the elaborate jailbreak of Mr. Asogi can be explained in no other way. Rubber.
Oh, jailbreak.
Wait.
Order! Order!
No.
Nope. I need you to keep up order! First fabricated evidence and now jailbreak conspiracy? Honestly? In my courtroom?
Yes,
Well,
of course.
Your courtroom's out of jail.
Because it's all intimately linked.
The prosecution wishes to summon new witnesses to the stand.
Witnesses?
People who could testify about the jailbreak that took place 10 years ago.
Governor Camden and the chief warder of the prison.
I won't allow this trial to turn into a farce. To summon the governor of the prison after all these years. Oh, it wouldn't be any trouble, my lord. What?
Father?
My dear friend may appear a little rattle. Excuse me?
Rattle-pated?
Rattle-padded? Rattle-pated? Rattle?
Rattle-padded?
Sure, rattle-padded, alright. My dear friend may appear a little rattle-padded at times, but I can assure you he is extremely thorough. He wired both Barclay and a local prison earlier, asking Governor Caden and Mr. Vigil to attend the Old Bailey as a matter of extreme urgency.
I just imagine a line of people just sitting outside waiting because of frickin' Herlock. Mr. Sholmes did that?
Yes, there's an entire line outside. It's like he literally talked to everyone that you've met the entire year you've been here. It's honestly a little concerning.
Even the Irish guy who's dead?
Everyone.
The Irish guy?
Everyone.
But he's dead.
Literally everyone.
Okay. I forgot the name of the Irish guy.
McGilden?
Are you
There we
telling
go.
me? Are you telling me that? Both men are, unless I'm much mistaken. Waiting just outside the courtroom at this very moment.
I love Mikatoba.
Just like, I don't have time for this crap.
I would like the court stenographer to stop taking notes for just 2 seconds, okay? All right, thank you.
But if I
Are you
Yes!
shitting me?
but if I don't stenographer everything, then I lose my job.
Literally, I just didn't want you to note my cursing. Anyway, you may continue.
I already noted it. Sorry.
I'm...
Why it out?
Also, I looked up the definition of a rattle-pate. It says a giddy, empty-headed, talkative person.
Oh.
Ah, Sholmes, got it.
And it's an adjective lacking sense or direction.
Sholmes, got it.
Okay.
My lord, you must permit this trial to proceed as you declared at its outset. You promised that we would stop at nothing to uncover the whole truth behind these disturbing findings.
Very well. Bring in the witnesses. Make no mistake. I too would like nothing more than to lay this business to rest once and for all.
Sure you would.
In his own way, not the court way. And they're back.
Dinosaur story.
I got it.
I like that movie, man.
Did you know that movie was released by the same studio that 1 month later released Schindler's List?
No,
Yes.
actually.
Quite the whiplash there.
Huh. Yeah. I'm sorry, it was
You're
such
not Caden yet. What?
Will the new witnesses state their names and occupations for the court, please? I, Barry Caden, Governor of Barclay Prison.
Everyone calls me gossip.
Your other persona, if you don't mind.
Oh, I do blink. Your partner, of course.
Watching him do the animations for gossip
Yeah.
while in this model was
My name is Daley Fitchell. I used to be the chief warder at Barclay Prison. I thought his name was Hugh Boone.
Yes.
Ah!
The reason you've been summoned here to court today is to testify about the jailbreak of the so-called professor 10 years ago. Lush, the professor! We've already been through all this before, a decade ago. And the conclusion was that there wasn't anything untoward happened.
A convict escaped from your prison, Governor. Hardly what you call nothing untoward.
Yeah, well,
The convict's death certificate was somehow falsified after he was allegedly executed. And he escaped the prison inside his own coffin. A plan of that complexity could never have been carried out without the help of somebody of influence inside the prison.
Governor Caden, don't imagine that the passage of time will afford you any protection.
Yeah, statute of limitations aren't a thing yet, right?
I
If
mean,
it
if
turns
they
out-
were, wasn't it like 15 years in the main trilogy?
No,
If it turns out that
I'm talking about. Sorry, Final. I'm talking about this time period.
Oh, I know, but I'm saying even if it was, even if it was by the main trilogy's logic, 15 years, it hasn't been 15 years yet, so the statute of limitations haven't expired.
Gotcha.
If it turns out that you were involved in the plot to break Mr. Asogi out of your prison, then of course, the consequences will be very serious. In all likelihood, a capital punishment. Gads, hold on there, laddie. All I did was...
Witness, Governor Caden.
Aye, sir.
You have a critical role to play in the public safety of our country. A great responsibility to shoulder. The significance of your testimony in court cannot be understated. Therefore, think carefully before you speak.
We're also inside a private. This is also a private court, so he can say whatever he wants, honestly, sir. But anyway, we're gonna have to go into his testimony in the next video since we're a little bit over now. So we'll all see you then.